The old Victorian house loomed over Lily, its shadow stretching towards her like a claw. A shiver ran down her spine. The town of Silent Hollow was aptly named. Deserted streets, wind whistling through broken windows. It was the picture of desolation. Lily pushed open the creaking iron gate. Dead leaves crunched under her feet. The air grew heavy, filled with a strange electricity. A sense of foreboding settled upon her. She was alone, utterly alone. The house stood 3 stories high, its paint peeling, windows boarded shut. A shiver ran down her spine again. The realtor had called it a fixer-upper. Lily saw it as an escape, a chance to start over. She just hadn't realized how isolated it would feel. As she unlocked the front door, a gust of wind slammed a shutter against the wall. Lily jumped. A cold draft swept into the house, carrying the scent of damp earth and something else. Something vaguely familiar and utterly unwelcome. The smell of decay. Days turned into weeks. Lily threw herself into the task of restoring the house. Each creaking floorboard, each echo in the empty rooms, served as a constant reminder of her solitude. She couldn't shake the feeling of being watched, of being judged. At night the house came alive, settling noises echoed through the empty halls. Whispers seemed to emanate from the walls themselves. Lily tried to ignore them, but they pricked at the edge of her awareness. They were faint, almost indistinguishable, but undeniably there. One evening, as Lily sat by the fireplace, a log shifted, sending sparks flying into the room. A chill ran down her spine. She could have sworn she heard a voice. A whisper, soft and low, just at the edge of hearing, her name, Lily. Lily shook her head, attributing it to the wind whistling through the cracks. But deep down, a seed of unease had been planted. A shiver ran down her spine. She was no longer sure if she was alone in the house or if something else had joined her. One afternoon, while cleaning the attic, Lily stumbled upon an old, tarnished mirror. It was unusually heavy, its silver backing blackened with age. As she wiped away the dust, she noticed something strange. Her reflection remained, but it was different. Older, sadder, with an air of melancholic beauty. That night, Lily couldn't shake the image of the altered reflection from her mind. She lay in bed, listening to the house creak and groan around her. Just as she was about to drift off, she saw it again. A fleeting movement in the reflection of her window. A shadow, darker than the night, gone as quickly as it had appeared. Sleep evaded Lily that night. Every creak of the floorboards, every rustle of leaves outside her window sent her heart racing. She felt a presence in the house with her, something unseen, lurking just beyond the veil of perception, watching, waiting. As dawn broke, Lily tried to rationalize her fear. It was just the wind, she told herself, just the old house settling. But deep down, she knew that something was amiss. Something was wrong, terribly wrong. Lily had been avoiding the basement. The heavy wooden door, swollen with dampness, seemed to resist her every attempt to open it. But the whispers, the fleeting shadows, they all seemed to originate from below. She knew she had to face her fears. With a deep breath, Lily finally managed to pry open the basement door. A musty, earthy smell wafted up, making her wrinkle her nose. The air was thick with moisture, the only light filtering in through cracks in the boarded-up windows. Cobwebs hung from every corner, and the silence was thick and heavy. As Lily descended the creaking wooden stairs, each step seemed to echo her growing unease. The air grew colder, the darkness more oppressive. She could feel her heart pounding in her chest. What was she doing, venturing into this dark and forgotten place? The basement was a labyrinth of shadows and forgotten memories. Broken furniture lay scattered about, covered in dust and cobwebs. The air was thick with the scent of decay. And then Lily saw it. A faint light, flickering in the far corner of the basement. A single lantern, casting long dancing shadows on the damp stone walls. It was as if someone, or something, had been down here recently. Lily cautiously approached the lantern, her heart pounding in her chest. The air grew colder as she drew closer, sending a shiver down her spine. The lantern sat on a small, rickety table, its flame flickering erratically, casting grotesque shadows that danced on the walls. Next to the lantern lay a small, leather-bound diary. Its pages were yellowed with age, the ink faded but still legible. Lily reached out a trembling hand and gently picked it up. The leather was cold and slightly damp to the touch, sending another shiver down her spine. As Lily opened the diary, a gust of wind slammed the basement door shut with a deafening boom. Lily jumped, her heart racing. She was trapped. The single lantern provided the only light, casting long, eerie shadows that danced across the walls. Panic welled up inside her. Taking a deep breath, Lily forced herself to remain calm. She had to get out of here. She fumbled for her phone, but it was dead. Of course, there was no signal down here anyway. She was alone, trapped in the dark with whatever or whoever had left this diary behind. The diary belonged to a woman named Elizabeth, who had lived in the house over a century ago. As Lily read through the faded entries, a tragic story began to unfold. Elizabeth wrote of her loneliness, her isolation in the remote house. She wrote of strange occurrences, whispers in the night, shadows that moved in the periphery of her vision. Elizabeth's entries grew increasingly frantic as the days turned into weeks. She wrote of a growing sense of dread, a feeling that she was being watched, hunted. She described seeing a shadowy figure in the mirrors, a malevolent presence that seemed to feed on her fear. One entry in particular sent chills down Lily's spine. Elizabeth wrote of a horrifying nightmare, a vision of being trapped in the basement surrounded by shadows, her screams echoing unanswered. She wrote of a cold hand reaching out from the darkness, a voice whispering her name, promising her eternal darkness. Lily read on, her heart pounding in her chest. Elizabeth's final entry was filled with terror and despair. She wrote of seeing the shadowy figure standing at the foot of her bed, its eyes glowing with an eerie, malevolent light. Then, silence. The diary ended abruptly, leaving Lily with a sense of unease and a growing dread. As Lily delved deeper into the diary, she uncovered a tale of forbidden love, betrayal, and a jealous rage that culminated in a gruesome murder. Elizabeth, it turned out, had been deeply in love with a young man from the village, but their love was forbidden. Her father, a wealthy and influential man, had arranged for Elizabeth to marry a wealthy older widower. Desperate to be with her true love, Elizabeth planned to elope, but her secret was discovered. Her father, enraged, confronted her in the basement, accusing her of bringing shame upon the family. In a fit of blind rage, Elizabeth's father had struck her down, ending her life and her dreams of happiness. He concealed his crime, burying Elizabeth's body within the walls of the basement itself, her restless spirit forever bound to the house where she had met her untimely end. Lily's blood ran cold as she read the final words scrawled across the aged pages. She realized with a growing horror that she was not alone in the basement. Elizabeth's presence was all around her, palpable, suffocating. The air grew heavy, the darkness closing in. Lily's breath caught in her throat. The lantern flickered, casting grotesque shadows that danced across the walls. The temperature plummeted, a bone-chilling cold seeping into the room. She was no longer alone. She could feel it, a presence, watchful and angry. A low growl echoed through the basement, seemingly emanating from the very walls themselves. Lily's eyes darted around the room, searching the darkness for the source of the sound. Her heart pounded in her chest, a frantic rhythm against her ribs. Then she saw it, a shimmering apparition forming in the darkness near the far wall. Elizabeth. Her once beautiful face was now twisted in a mask of rage and despair, her eyes burning with an eerie, otherworldly light. Her voice, a mournful whisper, cut through Lily like a shard of ice. "You will pay," the apparition hissed, her words echoing through the silent basement. "You will all pay for what you have done." Lily stumbled back, her hand instinctively reaching for the wall to steady herself. She was trapped, caught in a nightmare not her own. Lily's mind raced. She had to escape. She scrambled to her feet, her eyes frantically searching for an escape route. The basement, once a place of forgotten memories, was now a prison, a tomb. The apparition advanced, its form solidifying with each passing moment. Elizabeth's spectral hand, cold and insubstantial, reached out towards Lily, her touch sending a jolt of icy terror through her veins. "You cannot escape," Elizabeth's voice echoed, filled with a chilling emptiness. "This house is mine, and you are trapped here with me, forever." Lily stumbled back, her hand frantically searching for the doorknob. Her fingers brushed against cold, damp wood. The door was gone, sealed shut by some unseen force. Panic surged through her, threatening to overwhelm her. Lily's back hit the cold stone wall, her escape cut off. She was trapped, cornered by a vengeful spirit. Fear, raw and primal, surged through her. But amidst the terror, a spark of defiance ignited. "Elizabeth!" Lily's voice trembled, but she forced herself to speak. "I understand your pain, your anger, but you don't have to do this. Let go of your rage." The apparition hesitated, its form flickering as if caught between worlds. Lily's words seemed to reach through the veil of anger and despair, momentarily holding the spirit at bay. "Peace?" Elizabeth's voice echoed, a hollow whisper filled with centuries of pain. "There is no peace for me, not in this house, not while he remains free." Lily's mind raced. She had to find a way to appease Elizabeth's restless spirit, to right the wrongs of the past and free her from her earthly bonds. But how? Lily's desperate plea seemed to hang in the air, swallowed by the oppressive silence of the basement. The apparition wavered, its form flickering between rage and anguish. The air crackled with unseen energy, the tension thick enough to choke on. Then, with a gut-wrenching shriek that seemed to shake the very foundations of the house, Elizabeth's form lunged forward, vanishing into thin air a hair's breadth from Lily. The lantern sputtered and died, plunging the basement into an impenetrable darkness. Lily was left trembling, alone in the cold, damp darkness. Lily never forgot her encounter with Elizabeth. She fled the house that night, leaving behind the horrors she had uncovered. But the experience left an indelible mark on her soul. She knew with a certainty that chilled her to the bone that Elizabeth's spirit still haunted the house in Silent Hollow, seeking solace, seeking justice, seeking peace. And as the years turned into decades, whispers of the haunted house and the vengeful spirit that resided within its walls continued to echo through the town, a chilling reminder that some wounds, some wrongs, can never be fully healed. The haunting of Lily had ended, but the haunting of Silent Hollow continued.